Hi, welcome to Positional Play of the Day. Today we're going to be looking at a shot that can come up quite frequently. The problem that we have is that we've finished short on the 7 ball, so we've left ourselves quite a lot of angle, bearing in mind we need to get good shape on the 8 ball, and the side pocket presents a danger. As you can see, it's quite a steep cut. In an ideal world, we'd love to be able to draw the cue ball over to the side rail and hold for the 8 ball fairly straight into the corner, but because of the point of the pocket, this would be far too risky. It would also be very challenging to hold the cue ball close to the rail because the angle is so big that the likelihood is that it will bounce probably a little bit too much. As you can see, it's a little bit of a struggle to hold that cue ball for the 8. Especially with a fast cloth and bouncy rails. Okay, so how we're going to play this is to hit the cue ball with inside English and stun and send the cue ball 3 rails into short side position, enabling us to also get onto the 9 ball. This shot comes with a high tariff of difficulty. If you are a low level player or an intermediate player, you may find this shot very tricky. Higher level players have pretty much got it down, but you do have to give it 100% concentration or it can catch you out, especially when you're under pressure. There are a few things that we need to be wary of when we play this shot. Firstly, whenever we use English, we need to take into consideration the deflection. As you can see from the picture, I'm striking the cue ball on the left hand side. What this will do is when I strike, it will push the cue ball to the right. This is what's known as deflection. You will have to compensate for this movement by aiming slightly thicker than the natural line of aim for this shot. And hopefully, if you do it correctly, by the time the cue ball arrives at the 7 ball, it will now be on the correct line of aim to make the pot and send the cue ball in the direction that you want it to go to. The use of English and deflection will always make a ball harder to pocket, so it's very important that you get to know how much your shaft and your tip will deflect and affect the shot. Therefore, lots of practice is required for these type of shots, because if you get it wrong, sometimes you can end up looking really foolish by missing the pocket by a country mile. Something to consider. If you're using a carbon fibre shaft, you will get less deflection than a wooden shaft, but because you're striking the extreme left side of the cue ball, you will still get deflection, so it's something you'll have to work with. Something else you need to be wary of when playing this shot is where you're striking the cue ball. If you strike a little bit too low with not enough English, you will apply a backspin and you could actually kill the speed of the shot, not reaching your intended position. Likewise, if you strike a little bit too high, you could end up actually scratching in the right hand corner pocket. So you need to make sure that you hit the correct spot with the correct speed with a real nice stroke, and you will get the intended reaction. You also need to be careful not to use too much spin, because if you overspin the ball, you could end up with the cue ball in the far jaws of the pocket, leaving you a very difficult shot on the 8 ball, or even worse, you could actually scratch. You need to hit this shot with a really smooth stroke and excellent timing. If you can do this, you will give yourself the best chance of pulling this shot off. Here is an example of hitting the cue ball too low and not applying the correct amount of English to make the shot, which kills the speed of the cue ball, not allowing it to reach its destination. And here is an example of applying too much spin, which leaves the cue ball in the far jaws of the pocket and a difficult shot to recover on the 8 ball. Now let's take a look at the correct execution of this shot. For the purists out there, you will have noticed that the 8 ball has moved slightly. The reason for this is that the 2 long rails are not aligned correctly, making it impossible to pot the 8 ball down the rail. Obviously, with a better conditioned table, you'll have no problems making the 8 ball straight down the rail if it's frozen. The main focus of this video was the 7 ball position to the 8 ball, but I thought it would be cool to finish the run out. The importance of quality equipment cannot be overstated. I have to say that the Tiger Sniper tip comes into its own with this shot. The spin transfers easily, the feel of the tip is just beautiful, you don't get any unwanted squirt, and it does exactly what you expect it to do. If there is a better tip out there, then I would like to see it. As well as its quality of performance, it also holds its shape, it does not mushroom, and it does not harden up over time. All round, it gives you a great playing performance.